And if you guys don't know, most of the sneakerheads, if you guys don't know, most of the sneakerheads, the first thing that they do once they buy their sneaker is actually smell it. You know why? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Street Sense, and this is the second episode of our podcast, the Gabfest. Now, the whole idea behind this podcast is that every single day we'll be picking up one topic from our culture of street and sneakers, and we'll be having a completely unabridged, organic, uncensored conversation with all you guys. Why are we doing this? Is because we want to bring out more informative, educational, and not just about updates, but perspective based content also towards all you guys, which has always been the idea of Street Sense. And majorly the reason is because there was a lot of content that was scheduled for all you guys, but because of this whole lockdown situation, things can't be done. So that's why I'm over here to have this sort of a format wherein I'm sitting in my living room and having a conversation with all you guys through the screen. Now, before we actually begin with our topic for the day, I guess that has become like a thing for most of our videos and most of the content that has been dropping in the whole Indian scene is the idea of drip of the day. So yeah, shout out to Sahil Nandelman and locals. If you guys haven't watched his series, make sure you guys go and watch that too. Frankly Street, Sahil Nandel. And as of now, what is it that I'm wearing? Even though yesterday was like a completely shabby look that I had, today also like is somewhat similar only, but a little bit better from yesterday though. This was basically a long sleeve hoodie that I really loved. As far as the material is concerned, I don't even remember what's like the brand it is because this is pretty old for me. So I love the stuff, but I got bored of the whole long sleeve idea. So I did like cut off the arms and everything, and this is what I'm rocking, like a sleeveless hoodie kind of thing. And underneath these are I think Zara sweatpants, and on my feet are nothing but basic slippers because why would you wear sneakers at your own place? I don't understand the idea. Yeah. Also, guys, just one thing that I'm really apprehensive about is the quality of content that we are producing for all you guys. Not just as far as content is concerned, but also the production quality, be it audio, be it video, the lighting and everything. But the whole problem is since we are all locked down over here, this is all that I have as of now. But not to forget, our studio is in place with proper setup, lighting, equipment, audio, video, everything. As of now, what I'm shooting with is a G7X Mark II and with like a lapel mic and everything. But our studio is in place, but the only problem is because of this whole lockdown situation, we can't use it. As soon as we get free, there are gonna be better quality videos that gonna reach out to all you guys. So bear with me till that point. And do let me know if this works for you guys and what's the type of improvement that you would probably expect out of us eventually after this whole lockdown gets done. But we would be really happy to serve you guys with more and more better produced and content driven videos. Yeah guys, so that's pretty much it. Now cutting all that BS out, let's hit the topic of the day, which is sneakerheads. Now, before we hit our topic and talk about what's the idea of being a sneakerhead, how do you become a sneakerhead, and what is this concept as a whole of being a sneakerhead, let's first of all understand what are sneakers. So, sneakers to me also, just like how Google even says, is just a piece of footwear, guys. As simple. A piece of footwear which is more utility driven and it's more for, you know, like performance based, if I may say, because most of the trainers or sneakers, so yeah, first getting that thing straight out there, trainers as a word is just a synonym for sneakers. So please don't hate me for that too. So it's more utility driven For more physical activities, like there are basketball sneakers which are specific to the sport, and then there are football sneakers which are known as cleats, likewise for other sports as well. Then there are running sneakers too. So this is basically a utility driven a piece of footwear, that's it. Now most of you guys over there, if watching this, have already started hating me, and they're like, no, sneakers are, a part of our life, sneakers are love, sneakers are this, sneakers are that, blah blah blah. Please wait a second, I'm also a sneakerhead, let me complete. Sneakers are a piece of footwear only, that's what the utility is. But eventually over the decades, over the years, the concept of sneakers has evolved and has become more and more prominent in each and everyone's life, because as the phrase says, like, sneakers or your shoes or your footwear makes 90% of your outfit, and that's not wrong. Like, I completely believe it. Not only because of the style statement, which is also one of the most important part of how you are carrying your sneaker, but also what's the story behind your piece of footwear. Eventually, like today, it has also become like, what's the story behind the entire outfit that you are wearing, because there have now there are clothing lines which are more conceptual based, and each and every piece of clothing, be it a t-shirt, like for example I just said that I loved this, but I did cut off the sleeves out of my hoodie. Why is that? So this is like a story behind this thing, and probably if any one of you likes this is a concept, you guys can copy it down. This is something that I did. This is what makes me like street in ways. So that's that. And so as I said, it's not just the style statement, but also the story behind your sneaker. That's what makes it more important. And earlier it used to be like, each and every type of footwear was for a specific purpose. Like how a basketball sneaker is designed for court only, it used to be only for the court, and people, as soon as, or even players for that matter, as soon as they used to get done with their training sessions or with their games, they used to remove their sneakers and get back to their regular pieces of footwear, be it slippers, be it formals, or this or that, whatnot. That was the whole idea. But as things evolved, like for example, if I have to take an example, Jordan 1s, Michael Jordan is the legend for sure as far as the game is concerned. But as soon as he dropped his Jordan 1s with Nike, it became like a phenomenon. Why that happened is because Michael Jordan himself used to score, 20 points, 25 points, 30 points for his team. I'm just taking hypothetical numbers. I'm not quoting specific ball games, but I'm just saying he used to score, really good scores for his team, and was an MVP, and he was the biggest deal back in the day. Now, Jordan 1s, were the only way how you could connect yourself with that specific athlete or that specific personality. So it never mattered to people whether they are basketball players or even enthusiasts for that matter, but only because he's the greatest deal at that point in time. That's the way when you can attach yourself with him. So people used to buy that sneaker and then rock them everywhere. Why? Because there was a value that got attached to that specific sneaker because of Michael Jordan. Eventually what started happening was, it was not only about the value that got attached to that specific silhouette or to that specific design because of a specific player or because of a specific personality, but eventually it started happening because of the type of technologies also that started coming in. For example, Nike Air, that was like one of the biggest phenomena back in the day. because the type of tech that Nike brought, designed by an aerospace engineer and developed by design as in the whole idea of air tech was designed by an aerospace engineer and then eventually developed on a silhouette by Tinker Hatfield, who was an architect. None of them were like fashion designers or sneaker designers. They had their own spaces, but eventually they incorporated all their experiences and their knowledge around their domains and incorporated them into a thing which is so beautiful and which still is one of the biggest deal in the market as far as sneakers are concerned. So that's the whole idea. Each and every pair of sneaker basically has a story behind it. That's what makes it more beautiful. That's what makes it more important for a lot of people. So that's pretty much about it, guys. That's what a sneaker is. It's utility driven for sure, no doubt about it. But as I just said, each and every pair has a story behind it, and that's what makes it more important. And just because some people are way too much enthusiastic about their silhouettes, their pairs, and how they are actually carrying themselves, just like me for that matter, that is something what makes us sneaker lovers. I won't use the term sneakerheads yet, because I'll give you guys like a proper definition around it, but that's what makes us sneaker lovers, and that's what pretty much a sneaker basically is. Now, what's this whole idea of being a sneakerhead? If I may ask you guys, what is or who is a sneakerhead? Just let me know. Like, let's have like a 10-second pause, and you guys can drop it in the comments, and let's see, according to you guys, who's a sneakerhead, and then I'll share my ideas around it. So let's just wait for 10 seconds. So guys, what I'm basically assuming over here is that most of you guys are gonna think that having lots of pairs of sneakers is what makes you a sneakerhead, or collecting a lot of pairs of sneakers is what makes you a sneakerhead. That is one way to look at it, but that's something what makes you a sneaker collector. It does not make you a sneakerhead. These terms are very different. Being a sneaker lover, being a sneaker collector, and then being a sneaker head. A sneaker collector might have, say, hundreds of pairs with him, but does that make him a sneakerhead? Not really. Why I'm saying that? Because being a sneakerhead does not mean that you need to have a lot of pairs in your closet. Being a sneakerhead means that you need to know about most of the sneakers that you probably want to know about. Of course, not everyone can know about every other sneaker that has dropped ever in, since say the Big Bang of Earth. Of course, that can't be the case. But knowing and that willingness to know more about sneakers and that willingness to learn more about sneakers is what makes you a sneakerhead. For example, like back in the day, if I have to quote, Bow Ties and Bones again, I'll say, Alan Claudius, his basic ideology back in the day was that every time he used to hit the number of having 50 sneakers in his closet, he used to donate the next 5 sneakers and then go on to buy other pairs. So at one given point in time, he only has 50 sneakers in his closet, but as a whole he knows about hundreds and hundreds of pairs, because probably as far as his being a sneakerhead's journey is concerned, he has probably copped more than say 300 to 400 pairs easily. That's what I'm assuming though. But and he knows about them besides of anything and everything that he's probably learning every single day about sneakers. That's something what makes him a sneakerhead. He is not having, say, 400 or 500 sneakers like that, because that is something that makes you a sneaker collector. So now it's like a sneaker collector can be a sneakerhead can be a sneaker collector, but these two entities can stand by themselves also. So only because, so the whole idea over here is, you'll start collecting sneakers, or you can probably start collecting sneakers because one, maybe you feel that that's something what makes you stand out of the queue, or that's something that can get you guys hype, or say, majorly, which is also in ways we can't deny the fact, is a criteria to say that because you guys have money, right? So you guys can collect all of that. Everyone likes to collect something or the other. So some people like to collect sneakers, and which is completely fair. That again makes you like a sneaker lover who's a sneaker collector too. But by a sneakerhead, I mean someone who is willing to learn more about sneakers, who's willing to know more about sneakers, who does not buy a sneaker because of, just because of, I would say, the way it looks, or because a brand name or an artist name is attached to it, but also because of the type of story that revolves around that silhouette. That's the whole idea. And that's basically being a sneakerhead actually means. So you don't actually just love your sneakers, and you don't really have to collect a lot of sneakers, but you got to know about sneakers. You got to, you got to try and become, and if I may say, an encyclopedia of your own as far as sneakers are concerned. And that's what defines you, and that's what makes you a sneakerhead. Now, a lot of people basically ask, how does this journey of becoming a sneakerhead actually starts? It is never gonna start with you, you know, trying to cop a specific pair of a sneaker. It will start only when you start reading about that sneaker, different sneakers, or if I may say, and then choose it for your own self, that what is it that works for you. And this can probably be your first sneaker that can be a part of your closet. So for example, according to me, a few of the sneakers that are great, like literally great, uh, to begin your journey into becoming a sneaker collector, a sneaker lover, or even a sneakerhead eventually, would be, say, something like an Air Force One, which is like a pretty universal silhouette, and that is something that you can rock with anything and everything. The white one specifically, and likewise all the other silhouettes that I'm going to talk about are all pretty universal. So I would say Air Force Ones are like, is one pair that you can start your journey of becoming a sneaker enthusiast with. That's one. Two, Vans old schools for sure. Third would be Chuck Taylors, the Converse All Stars, not the 70s. You can start up with 70s also, that's not a problem. But you know, if it's for the very first time that you're trying to invest your money into something that you're not really sure of, then why not just go for All Stars? It's completely fine. So, and that's personally, actually, I would also say that the first pair that I actually did fall in love with was an all-star pair that was more of like a, that like had a zip on the side of it. I don't really remember the model name because it was back in the day when I was in, I think, seventh or eighth standard. But that's how I actually started falling in love with it, with sneakers, if I may say. So Converse are basically the pairs that actually got me into this culture, and I absolutely love them. Like even today, if I get a chance, I can go on a shopping spree for only and only Converses, or only and only Vans, old school specifically. So yeah, these three are the pairs that you can actually start your entire journey with, to begin with, if you guys want to know. And these are the type of DMs that we constantly get over our Instagram and here and there. So that's pretty much about it. Now, So, for example, if you guys have a lot of money and if you guys see that this is a pair that's gonna drop at XYZ time or at XYZ place, you guys can easily go over there and copy your pair. Completely fine because you love that silhouette and because you want that pair. But what makes you more of a sneakerhead is that whether you know or not that considering your pocket and considering you know your intellect of being a sneakerhead, if I may say, do you realize it that whether at whatever price point is that sneaker dropping, is it even worth it to buy it at that price point or not? Or because most of the sneakers eventually uh, fetch you a lot more money than their retail value, if I may say. And 30% is like easy go, especially for something like a Yeezy or Jordan 1 highs for that matter. 30% hike is easy money. So that's that. But do you realize by your own self and for your own self, if you're buying a sneaker for your own self and not reselling, do you realize it for yourself that whether that specific sneaker uh, deserves that amount of value or not? Like, be it the value is you're if you're considering the value of that sneaker basis the amount of time you have to camp out a store, that's one way to look at it. The second is the number of pairs dropping. The third can be the retail value of it. The fourth can be the expected resale value of it, so on and so forth. So eventually it's like your way to look at things and your ideologies to plan as to whether you would like to invest your time, energy and money into that sneaker at that point in time or not. Because it's more of like you got to find your own plugs too, and that is something that you can do only and only if you are a sneakerhead and not just a sneaker collector or a sneaker lover. Because a sneaker collector would just throw in money and get that piece, as simple as that. So sneakerhead would always find its own way of copying a specific pair or a silhouette to the cheapest of the value possible. That's one way to look at it, and the easiest of the way possible. And third can also be a way to just see and figure out if you can copy it before the actual release date or not. That becomes like more of like an early pair to you guys, which is of course very difficult, but real sneakerheads still find a way to do that. And how if I may explain it in simplest of the words, as far as money is concerned, you can always anticipate that whether an XYZ silhouette or an XYZ pair will eventually be available on at official stores or on the official website somewhere, some months down the line below retail or not. You can always anticipate that. And that is something that you can do only and only if you're a sneakerhead and if you're reading and learning and educating yourself more about it. For example, Thunder Spectra's Pumas that dropped were like great pair for sure, hands down. And they retailed at 10 grand in India. So I copped one pair, during the, at the first drop itself, and it was actually the OG colorway, which was of like a mustard and a yellowish color tone. Uh, that's that. But I loved that sneaker so much that eventually I planned on to copying other colorways also. No, sorry. So I actually copped the black colorway and I loved that silhouette so much that eventually I wanted to cop the other colors also. But I genuinely thought that if I already have one pair in my hand, then why should I invest the same amount of money into copying other pieces also? So I waited because I realized as to the number of pieces and the number of pairs that they were dropping every now and then, and at the stores was like huge for sure. And I had this thing like super sure in my head that eventually I can cop these under retail easy. So it was literally 3 or 4 months down the line, I copped two colorways at 40 to 50% discount. Yeah, one was at 40% discount, another one was at 50% discount. So easy save, guys. Like for the value of one pair, I copped two pairs, eventually two. So it's basically that is the type of intellect, or that's the type of space you get into only after you start learning and reading more about sneakers. And that's how you become a sneakerhead. It's not just about collecting sneakers. It's not just about having the best of the sneakers, having the most hyped up pairs of sneakers in your closet, but also about the stories and everything. Now, it's not just about another way of looking at it is also in ways I would say is it's not just about the story that a specific silhouette has, or it's not just about the story behind the design of a shoe is, but it's also behind the story of how you copped it. Like this was my story of how I copped three pairs of Thunder Spectras, which costed me way less than retail value. So this was like my story of it. And there are more interesting stories also, but eventually, in other episodes, I might disclose all of them. One is like a super crazy story of me copying the turtle doves, though. So I'll share that some other time. But yes, so the story behind and the idea behind how you cop that pair, or why do you love that pair, is what makes you more of a sneakerhead. Why I love Chuck Taylors so much, or why I love Vans old schools and the OTW collection so much, is only and only because there is a story which is more on a personal level to me, is what makes me a sneakerhead. And that's something what defines me, because that story is like a one of one, right? So that story is something that only I have lived, and that's probably one of the reason why those sneakers are more special to me, right? So I don't know if this is making sense to all you guys or not, but that's also a way to see that all the hustle that goes behind copying a specific pair. It never is about how you've copped a hyped up pair, because eventually if you have money you can throw in money at any reseller and they'll give you anything and everything that you can probably think of, or you probably expect, or you probably want. That's easy way of doing it. But the fun is actually behind all the hustle that you probably would like to move forward with, because it's not just about how much energy goes behind all of that, or how much money you saved while doing all of that, but also it just makes you more of a sneaker lover with every pair you cop, because that's something that you're living. It's not just a pair of sneakers that you're gonna wear. That's gonna be a story that's gonna make you guys cherish that sneaker more. It's not gonna be about oh, this has an air unit to it, or oh my god, this is something that was designed by Virgil Abloh. No, that is gonna be a part of it, and that's gonna be the hyped up part of it, or whatever we might say. But what's gonna make it more interesting for all you guys is gonna be the fact that you guys gonna think that, oh, okay, so I actually had to go all the way to say I had to travel 500 kilometers all the way to cop this one pair. Even if you cop it at retail value, and not under retail, but since you're traveling 500 kilometers, which I have done a lot of times, so since you're traveling all the way over there, and you're probably bluffing around or lying to your, say, bosses that you don't feel like coming to office today because you're probably ill, and going out on a shopping spree just to buy sneakers is what's going to make that sneaker more special to all you guys. So it's your personal story that makes you more of a sneakerhead, and not uh, the story behind the design or whatever we may say. I think we've pretty much covered most of the aspects as far as being a sneakerhead is concerned, and this whole idea and this whole phenomena of a sneakerhead is concerned. Most of the sneakerheads who are already watching this are like, I hope that I've been able to justify our ideologies in ways, and if not, there have been some very specific reasons and pointers that I've left out, because I would like to add all that up in my eventual episodes. But yes, and all the people who have not been sneakerhead as of now, or probably wants to get into this culture, this is probably one way of looking at things. I'm not saying that I'm the right one, but this is a perspective that I've given to all you guys. And also, not to deny is the fact that there are a lot of people who don't understand our ideologies, and by our ideologies means being a streetwear enthusiast and being a sneakerhead. So a lot of people don't understand all of that, which is completely fair, because that's how we all have been raised. And investing so much of energy and so much of money into something that you just have to wear and walk around or dance around or run around should not require a lot of energy to be invested in, let alone money aside. And that's completely fine. So I hope if any one of you like are watching this video, I hope as a layman you can actually understand our thought process. And even if not, that's completely fine. But all that I request from all you guys is, if you guys are not sneakerheads or don't understand this culture, I hope you guys start respecting it more. It's completely fine that you don't want to get into it, and it's completely fine if you guys don't like our culture and don't understand our culture, which is completely fair and fine. But I have seen a lot of people disrespecting us, as in the sneaker enthusiasts, disrespecting us or making fun out of us that we are spending so much on sneakers, or we are reading so much about something that's pointless. So this is probably not pointless for us. This is like, for me at least, if I may say, this is like uh, you know mm, like proper education for me. Like, I keep on reading a lot of articles about it. I besides pushing out a lot of articles, I keep reading about it, I keep learning more about it. I try to find stories and design tech by myself while I wear a sneaker, or while I look around. And if you guys don't know, most of the sneakerheads, if you guys don't know, most of the sneakerheads, the first thing that they do once they buy their sneaker is actually smell it. You know why? Wait for the next episode and I'll tell you guys why. So, but that's actually makes it more crazy for all of us that we are smelling something that's gonna go on our feet. Nevertheless, that's a part of our lives. That's literally a part of our lives. So that's that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I'm not really sure whether this whole concept and this whole idea of running this sort of a podcast will work out or not. But if it does, great, and we would still, continuously keep on pushing as much of content possible from our side, and at least till we are in this whole lockdown situation, every single day you guys gonna see a new podcast dropped on our YouTube channel. Also, another thing that I wanted to actually answer was, in my last video I said that our podcast is gonna drop on IGTV also, but because of some technical issues, IGTV has not been supporting our format, or I think our videos or our video podcasts are basically too lengthy for it. so it can't be dropped over there. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, guys. Because personally speaking, I would love to hear something of that sort if something was thrown at me like that. So, and likewise, I'm hoping that some of you also would be thinking likewise. So that's that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was just one episode. Do let me know what all topics you would actually like me to talk about and have a conversation about. And that's that, man. Before leaving, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And until next time, which is literally gonna be tomorrow only. Yeah. Until next time, take care, guys.